up? Welcome back to the Pick It and Flick It podcast. I am Luke.
I am Fox.
And I'm Natasha.
And we know how to talk.
That's right. We're very good at that.
Especially about movies.
Especially about movies.
That is what we do sometimes.
Yes.
But Fox, what did we watch today?
So 2020's been a year, and we're chugging towards the end here.
That is true. It was a year, and it's almost over.
And I feel like every movie that was supposed to come out this year has been either lackluster or delayed. But I will say,
or just didn't come out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was either okay, or it was delayed and just never, hit the screens. But this one in particular, I don't know. I'm sad that we didn't get a full-fledged theatrical release because it was definitely worth it. Today we're talking about 2020's Freaky with Vince Vaughn and Kathryn Newton.
But right off the bat, I gotta ask, was it freaky?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess in a sense. Yeah, it was a little freaky.
Well, then there you go. There you go, Universal. You did it.
Yeah, good
You
job.
freaked us out.
And not to mention, I think this is one of the better Blum or Blumhouse productions that we've gotten in 2020. Because didn't they release 5 movies in a row on Hulu or Netflix?
I can't say to that, but I do know that.
Didn't Red Letter do something where they were like, we're going to do the Blumhouse chug during quarantine and just watch a bunch of...
Oh, that was... Yeah, I'm not too sure what that is, but it was either a bunch of movies or a show worth of shit. I don't know.
I think they released a bunch of different movies.
Yeah, I think so too.
That could be the case.
Lucy Hale that Mike and I were talking
but
about.
this is what I'm going to assume, or I guess coin, that Freaky is now the third movie in Christopher Landon's little horror. He's kind of doing his own thing. I can't really place this anywhere else. He has his own little style, I feel like.
Yeah, because he did Happy Death Day, right?
Both of them, I believe.
And then, of course, the third one, which is announced, Happy Death Day to Us. So, not only did he do 1 and 2, he's doing the third. So,
which you have you guys both seen?
Yeah.
Both of those.
Yep, we watched them on Valentine's Day.
I say we always went on Valentine's Day when they got released because
okay,
we enjoyed the first one so much.
I didn't really care for the first one. I thought it was kind of bland.
What?
Kind of blah.
What?
Yeah, didn't really like. Yeah, didn't like the first one. I think I gave it a 5 out of 10, and that was being nice.
Wow.
But I really liked the second one. It was like a horror version of Back to the Future 2.
I was gonna say you like the Back
and
to the
I loved
Future
it.
portions of it, where it's just crossing each other's paths and avoiding. So.
Well, that, and I just, I dug the second one, and going into this one, obviously it was Freaky Friday inspired, because I think it was supposed to be called Freaky Friday the 13th.
Oh.
Because even in the movie, do you remember when Vince Vaughn, I guess the girl wakes up as Vince Vaughn, and in the mirror it says Friday the 13th or whatever?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm assuming that was left in. I don't know why that was still left in, but
I'm glad
yeah,
they
obviously
just did Freaky though, because Freaky Friday the 13th is just a mouthful.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I don't know about all that, but obviously the layman would probably confuse Friday the 13th with
being
another
a layman in the defense of Tosh saying that, oh yeah, I'm glad she just did Freaky. I feel like even if it was Freaky Friday the 13th, people would have just shortened it up to just hey, did you go see Freaky this weekend? Instead of saying, hey, did you go see Freaky Friday the 13th this weekend?
Yes, I understand. I understand the general population is fucking stupid. But
the
what
general
I'm saying
population, says Luke.
Exactly. I proves my point for me is that no one can fucking talk.
But okay, so I don't know if it's been overdone or not, this whole Friday or the Freaky Friday thing, because and I'll mention this several times as we go through even the movie Hot Chicks or Hot Chick, excuse me, that kind of pulls on the same roster. But I think when you're combining the horror aspect, the gore aspect, and this light comedy twist, which is what we've seen in Christopher Landon's movies before, I think that's a really nice touch to add it all to this. And I guess we should start talking about the movie for a minute here as we go through. Right off the bat, we get a really nice intro to what a story, what the story is going to be about, who the killer is, and why he's doing the things, and then just death. And
Yeah, we got I believe four
four
really
deaths
good
right off the bat.
practical deaths, and they even set up a bit where he throws like a pool cue, and it looks like he missed, and you think, okay, whatever, and then later on they pay that off, and they pull a Silent Night, Deadly Night, and
With the
impale
spear.
him on the wall.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that it was more like a okay, spoiler alert, good lord. The whole premise that comes out is that the rich teenager's dad, whose house they're partying at, is like a art collector of some sort and has like a bunch of ancient art and artifacts, and it looks like it's everything from like medieval to Aztecan to African, and it's not a pool cue gets thrown; it's a spear. It looks like some kind, maybe sort of tribal spear that gets pinged into the wall, but I don't even think, and on the list of the four, that was the worst death of them all, and it was still a great death.
Yeah, I really liked the tennis racket impaling, I suppose.
The first one's my favorite.
I was gonna say the first
wine bottle.
The first one is my favorite. That was a great one. Like again, these teenagers are partying at this house, drinking a little bit, trying to get lucky a little bit, and
Getting lucky a little
oh
bit.
yeah, getting lucky. I guess you're right. And
God, you sound like an old fucking man.
yeah, sorry, I am an old man. But the first death, we see a wine bottle slammed down a teenage boy's throat, and then he breaks it off, so all the glass gets shoots out of his esophagus, and brutal.
Yeah.
Absolutely
And
brutal.
then we get a wonderful toilet seat bashing gag.
That's my favorite one, I think.
Oh my god.
It's so funny.
No, my favorite was definitely he snaps a tennis racket and then re-impales both sides into some random kid's head, and I think I forgot exactly what he said, but like his very last line of dialogue was something about like wanting to get like a blowjob or something, and that just made me laugh so hard.
I loved it. And then to top the cherry on top for this opening scene to me is the reaction of the parents when they come into the house to see their daughter impaled on a wall through a spear.
Well, that whole little ending bit there is the very first of many Scream references or homages, I guess, riddled throughout this fucking movie.
Yeah, and we do see some homages and little hints to other movies as well, which I think we'll break down as we go. But I feel like in horror movies, especially kind of like, not corny, because this wasn't corny, but just like, kind of off the wall style ones that aren't.
It's both very, very violent, but also kind of lighthearted.
Yeah, but I also feel like every time we see this movies in this genre, we get parents that come in that just are like, oh no, and like just cry over the death of their loved one.
I feel like the parents are always just so oblivious in movies that the teenagers are the main focus.
Yeah. But in this one, they walk in, and first of all, they're having a conversation, and then the conversation gets cut off as they see their daughter pinned onto the wall, and they just start screaming in horror, which is exactly what I would expect of someone to do. Mm-hmm. So I was really happy. I wrote that down. It was like, great reaction from the parents. Thank you for the fucking realism. I just liked that a lot. So, nods.
I'm glad they didn't start laughing. That I was worried they were going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been, bleh. It just would have fallen flat. Then we chug through to our main character, who is played by Kathryn Newton, Millie Kessler, who seems to be this just, I don't know, rather poor and uninteresting, standard teenager.
They do one of the wonderful things I love about movies is when they cast this unbelievably attractive young lady, and then right up until the big twist or change in her character, they act like everyone thinks she's this like ugly loser, when even when she's dressed and acting like that, you can tell that's definitely not where she would be placed in the rankings at school.
Well, she's dressed all frumpy. Like the sweater that she's wearing doesn't match the dress she's wearing, and it's just like super long, and it just doesn't seem like that's the type of outfit that this kind of girl would wear. I don't know. I felt like they, like you said, they tried to make this really like beautiful girl ugly and nerdy, and she's not at all.
And
I mean, maybe she's nerdy, but
and her hair was like all over the place.
Yeah,
Like it was
like
just
she
like
didn't brush it.
uncombed and unkept. That was my next note after that is I really didn't like the stereotypical high school like cliques and stereotypes that we see in this movie. And I get what they're trying to do. It's not a serious movie. It's not a very comical movie. It's some that weird twist in between. But the issue is like there's one scene where she's playing a mascot at the football game, and it's a beaver, and one of the football players throws something at her and says, yeah, the only beaver we wouldn't want to touch, you know?
Yeah, and then they said from the head down, she's attractive.
Oh, if you brown bagged her face, she'd be
Yeah.
attractive. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, have you seen her face, man? Like,
When she's dressed like that, her face is the prettiest thing about her.
right, exactly. So that to me was a little bit of like, you're trying too hard with the storyline here.
Yeah.
Like, make her the popular
Which is-
girl. Like, who cares?
Well, not even that, because like in both of the Happy Death Day movies, Jessica Roth I think does a great job as she's very attractive, but you can tell she's just kind of like an every girl, just a normal gal.
Yeah,
And,
she wants to go to the bar and she wants to do a little bit of drugs. And she
Right,
wants to
right.
have
They don't
sex and-
hype up that she's this fucking loser because she's wearing like a librarian's outfit or some shit.
My dad always says it, and not that she's like this in that movie, but they always put like glasses, and then they put the girl's hair up in a ponytail, and she's ugly. But then when she takes her glasses off and pulls her hair down, she's beautiful, and it's like
It was kind of vice versa with this one,
Yeah.
actually, because they put her hair was down and all over the place, and then she combed it and put it up in a ponytail, and then all of a sudden everyone's
It's all in
jaws
that
were dropping.
that red leather jacket.
Yeah, I don't know.
I love that jacket.
That is actually one of the few negative notes in this movie that I had. I was just like, I don't really necessarily care if she's cool or uncool or just in the middle. Like that had nothing to do with the fact that she had this event happen to her.
I think it does, because it kind of, when she was in Vince Vaughn's body, she had said that she felt strong, and Booker was like, "You don't need to feel strong." I know we're kind of jumping, back
but still
forward, but he's like, "You don't need to feel that way because you already are," which I think was the point.
Yeah, and I get that, but in the sense of like if you were to be put into a male's body, I feel like someone who works out regularly and has like, a tone, I feel like you would have been like, whoa, like I feel way stronger even though you work out and you do all of this stuff. Like it's not necessarily a balance of, oh, she's the weak, nerdy kid. It's just like, oh, I'm in a different body. Like, I don't know. I just felt like it was irrelevant to me to mention that she was the dirty, nerdy kid with a drunk mom and
Well, that
hand-me-down
and
clothes.
like no shit, this tiny teenage girl would feel stronger in 6'5" fucking Vince Vaughn's body. Like
Right.
no shit.
Yeah, right. So, I don't know. That was, like I said, that's one of the downfalls that I had, or the negative points I had. But moving forward into the portion of this movie that I think really killed it, and I loved it. Big bad murderer tries to kill nerdy teenager, and the dagger that he used that he stole from crazy rich guy's house is cursed. And
Yeah,
they
it
switch
doesn't
bodies.
really matter. It's
End of
just a
story.
device to get the plot moving.
Yeah. Watch the trailer, you see that happen.
It's Freaky Friday with horror movie stuff. That's
And no
the whole
Chinese
movie.
lady.
And no Chinese lady, right?
Instead, we get a Spanish teacher.
But here,
Oh, yeah.
here is where it is just, they killed it. Vince Vaughn running around, screaming, running like a girl, talking like a teenage girl, and just like even his face expressions. Way to kill it, man.
He did a great job.
Way to kill it. And I'm not really a Vince Vaughn fan, I'll be honest. I'm not the biggest Vince Vaughn fan, but he killed it in this movie. And I laughed, I think, so hard at every time he was on screen just because of the way that he was able to pull this character off. So fantastic acting. And even on Kathryn Newton's part, fantastic acting for her, because she could flip like a switch from the serial killer, dark, straight-faced person to, oh my God, save me, because she's trying to convince people that she is, the innocent one, which was great.
Yeah, they both do really well. I'm probably, I guess, more on the side of a Vince Vaughn fan than not.
I like Vince
I've
Vaughn.
seen shit that I like him in and stuff that I don't. He
Sure.
was terrific as Norman Bates in the Psycho remake, if you've ever seen that disaster. But he's fucking hilarious in this, and seeing him run around and say, "I'm not a cock gobbler," that was just tremendous.
Oh, there was some one-liners in this movie, man, that just had me rolling. I could
Yeah,
not
here,
believe
Clam Jam was a new one for me.
Yes, Clam Jam is a good one. And there's a scene where a bully of hers that we see in the beginning of the movie comes into the bathroom when he's waiting, and he's like, "Hurry up, I gotta take a shit." And he comes out and kind of lifts him up off the ground and makes him piss
Vince
himself.
Vaughn is a fucking monster.
Yeah, but it's her in this big ass body, so she's like, "If you ever mess with this Millie person again, I'm gonna make your stupid, silly slime face like regret being alive." You know, it was just like the character that embodied him, and vice versa. It was just fantastic. There was some really good, tasteful things that were going on as far as character development. And speaking of tasteful, when the bodies officially switch and we see Millie's character, who is now the serial killer, walking into the school, did you notice that they just panned down to her ass for like 3 seconds?
Well, they
as she
were
was
showing her hand.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Sure they were.
All
Fucking
you were doing
sicko.
was looking at her ass.
Dude,
But
that was a
they
good,
were
tasteful
showing her
booty.
hand like it was like clenching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we hadn't had a tasteful booty since at least the Halloween extravaganza. So I had to mention that there was there's at least one tasteful booty in this. But you were
say one.
Yeah, you were gonna say something. Go ahead. I kind of
I was gonna say, speaking of bullies, but obviously that's a little late.
No, go ahead.
Ryler. First of all, what kind of name is Ryler?
Well, people could say that about my name. So
Well, I was gonna say it's like Kyler from Cobra Kai.
Or our friend Kyler.
I have a good buddy named Kyler.
I feel like it's Riley and Tyler combined.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work. And she, not to mention, she's like 4 foot nothing. So how can you be a bully when you can't, when like you have to stand up on your tippy toes for someone to even hear you talk?
It's the way of the world, man. Don't you know that's how high school works?
Tosh just turned into a mean girl for a second.
I know.
there.
I feel the.
I'm
claws coming
sorry.
out.
I wouldn't be, if someone shorter than me is trying to threaten me, I'm not going to be afraid of you.
Yeah, because you're short, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone's shorter than me, then I'll just kick you.
Brutal. So
and then
go ahead.
do we want to talk about her death?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So who has that in their high school?
So the way that her death
Yeah.
works is it's basically like a cryo chamber. It looked to me. I don't necessarily know what it was supposed to be used for, but she gets put in there to stay safe from the serial killer, and
I
then
don't think it was to stay safe.
well, he said we gotta hide, and then she puts him in there, and she goes, "Wait, is this safe?" And she goes, "I don't know," and then locks the door in there.
I feel like she knew though.
Well, obviously, but
Yeah.
when she hits go on the device, it drops to negative 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Like, why is that just accessible to? That's like some scientific bullshit, Like, why is that accessible in high school to students to just climb into? I don't know. That was one of the few, or I think that was the only death I was like, no, that doesn't work. Because then when it was opened back up, her body falls out and shatters all over the floor.
Yeah.
Because she's been frozen. So
I don't know. I'm not sure what fucking rich high school they were at, but I've never seen one of those myself.
yeah,
Me neither.
me either.
I feel like that's something you have to go and spend like $100 an hour just to use it.
I'm just looking at my notes right before the negative 300 degree Fahrenheit chamber. While we were talking about what's her name, Ryler.
Yeah.
She, in a text message while talking to Millie in the locker room, she says total vegetarian, which is another one shot.
my God.
It was so fucking funny. So we got clam jam, we got cock gobbler, and vegetarian. I think those are the 3 new ones that I've heard in this movie, and I'm all about it. That was very funny. Very, very funny. From there, I think the story is a little bit more self-explanatory. I mentioned earlier that we get a lot of hot chick references. So, like, when she's trying to explain to her friends, like, oh, look, I'm stuck in this body. They do a handshake, and they do, like a little reminiscing about their favorite things, and kind of explains like their past to each other to convince them that we're I'm stuck here, which is exactly what happens in Hot Chicks. And I'll be honest with you, we watched Hot Chick after we watched this movie last night because I was I loved that movie and I wanted to see the comparisons, so I have a little bit of reference on it. And there's a lot of things that I think Hot Chick ripped off of the original Freaky Friday, and then obviously from here we get a lot of rip-offs from there, and back and forth. So I don't know if it's an homage, if you will, but it's definitely like, oh, okay, we've seen this kind of style before, and these events happened before. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Take it with a grain of salt. And then I just think the rest of the movie is kind of self-explanatory. They're trying to run around and get the dagger to try to switch their bodies back.
And that's where I think the movie really shines. Is I really like the dynamic between Vince Vaughn and the two friends.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
One of my favorite lines was when they're initially running away from Vince Vaughn, and he says something like, "You're black and I'm gay. We're so dead."
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was tremendous, to just the fact that that's become such a stereotype within like horror movies, as those are usually two of the guaranteed dead characters.
Yes.
And
usually right off the bat.
I was waiting throughout this movie as well, especially later on when she's tied up, and we have the wonderful scene where he has to tell his mom he's actually straight.
Oh god.
Oh, that is funny. Yes.
Stuff like that, just I thought was really funny, and then I thought I kept waiting for him to get killed. I just assumed that would happen, and then turns out both of them made it, so good for them.
That's funny that you said that, because first thing I said when they got out of the car in the beginning of the movie, I said, "Oh, a gay and a black character. The gay guy's dying," and we watched it with our friends last night who are gay, and they were like, "I don't know, like he might stick around," which is great because both what was his name, Booker?
No, Booker was the guy that she had a crush on.
Oh, okay. What was Joshua and Nyla?
Yep, Nyla.
Yeah. Both of those guys, both those characters were fantastic. I really enjoyed their dynamic, and just the way that they were out. I want to talk about a couple of the other murders that happened here before we jump into production style, because those are the last couple of notes I have. Is the woodshop teacher the friend from Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Fuck yeah, that's Alan Ruck.
I saw him and I was like, oh my god, he's from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I could not. You want to? So this is actually really ironic that he's in this right now, because probably a month or two ago, of all people, my grandma sent me a picture of Alan Ruck. He was on the news doing some interview thing, talking about Ferris Bueller all those years later, and he's got just gray hair and this huge gray beard, and I was just thinking, Jesus, man, this guy got old on us. And then you see him in this movie, and he gets a tremendous death scene, which was probably my favorite of the whole movie.
Yes.
And he was funny. He just starts kicking this teenage girl's ass.
Oh my god.
I couldn't believe it.
Thank you. I was wondering the same thing. And Vox was like, if someone was trying to kill me, I'd beat the shit out of them. I'm like,
well, yeah, because I thought it was so funny, because that is what everyone says they would do, and then this movie just shows them doing it.
They're just brutal about it, and the fact that he's such a dick in this movie, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Then again, if I saw a student sucking the blood out of another student's finger, I'd probably act like an asshole too.
Yeah, but he was an ass before she sucked the blood off of his finger.
Well, maybe she should have finished the fucking birdhouse.
He
Doghouse,
gave her
get it right.
Deadline. And she didn't have it done, and he wanted her to do it.
So
a week
yeah,
ahead of
it's
time.
fine. Get your shit done.
No, she still had a week.
I love that this is the argument.
That stressed me out, because I'm a procrastinator. So if someone were to be like, "Oh, a week ahead of time that my projects due," I would flip my shit.
Well, she didn't have anything done. Come on now.
She still had a week.
I'm just happy that this is the argument we're having, because the movie is so realistic that we're getting heated over the turn-ins of homework or projects.
Well, I didn't
Woodshop was
understand
my
when
least favorite class.
Alan Ruck gets stabbed in the neck, why he just kind of hobbles around.
He's old, man.
I don't know. Well, no, I'm saying like he like continues to like he knows that the chick's trying to kick his ass, and he keeps like letting himself open to these attacks.
Well, because he knew that it was in the script that he had to get cut in half by a bandsaw, or a table saw, excuse me. But regardless, what a kill! What a kill! Cutting him right in half.
Best one in the movie.
I feel like everyone that died deserved to die, so I'm happy.
Yeah, and you know what? It's really funny you say that, because the very last note that I put in here as far as storyline goes is what a fantastic layout of great justice on both sides. Not only do we see Millie, who's stuck in the serial killer's body, becoming more, getting a little bit more bonding with her friends, convincing her mom, and even though they never see her face, that she just needs space and that she'll move on. But we also see like these bullies that get fucking like so over the top when it comes to her character that they sexually harass her in one scene. Another scene, they try to like say that they're gonna gang rape her pretty much.
Yeah, the rapey football players.
Yeah, and we have murderer stuck in her body. And she still gets justice at the end of the day, because when they swap bodies, the rape, scene culture football players are dead.
And they resisted what would usually happen with the love interest either turning out to be an asshole, to maybe he would come in and what's going on here, and she would be like, oh, he's here to save me, and then he would turn out to be a piece of shit too. No, he was just a good dude who made out with a serial killer for some reason.
Oh man,
whatever.
We have to say that because two things. Number one, that was a super cringy scene where he's like, I'm into you, but you're also in a 40-some-year-old old man's body, so I want to kiss you. And then when they go to kiss, there's a theater trick that happens where he kind of brings his hand up.
I noticed it, yep.
And he also has his thumb over his mouth so that they're not actually kissing. Their lips don't touch. And then the hand, since Vince Vaughn's hands are so fucking big, what the hell?
He's like 7 feet tall.
Right. And they kind of just play that really well, which is great because it probably alleviated a lot of weird cuts and like maybe doubles if they had to.
Also, the 30-year age difference of the two people.
Yeah, but
let's
be real. These teenagers aren't teenagers. They're in their mid-20s, acting as high schoolers.
I feel like the fact that they did that, though, he's 23, Booker.
Okay.
The guy that plays him.
So
and then
almost
Vince Vaughn is 50.
What a killing, man.
So I think that the fact that they did that made the movie even better. Because I feel like when a movie can make you uncomfortable and can make you cringe in a good way.
I was laughing. I was cringing. I got everything I wanted out of it.
Yeah, we did too.
We were like, no way are they going to have them kiss. No way. And then them kissing.
The second they started kissing, we all started yelling.
Because the scene starts with him going like, I'm so lonely up here. Can I come in the back seat with you? And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah, I was about it. I was all about it. I really liked that.
There were a lot of subversions of what I feel like the normal fare in terms of a horror movie or a comedy or like a teen movie. They like homage just enough, but they also put their own spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
So production-wise, I think there was a pretty nice taste of music that was going on. We had both sound like composed music for the intense chase scenes and the fight scenes that were happening, but we also saw like kind of the high school music, and I think that was really, it's hard to do sometimes because I feel like sometimes when we get into a party scene, and especially because Tosh likes to rewatch some older TV shows and stuff, and looking back on how the music that they, like the licensed music that they decided to choose, it just didn't fit well. So the one note that I had as far as the music side goes is when we see them initially switch bodies, Vince Vaughn's character, there's like some kind of like pop song that's being played a little bit, and he's just like trying to figure shit out because it's Millie. And then when we see, Millie who's now the murderer, walking into school, I believe Ghostmane or some more hardcore rapper that mixes metal in that makes it sound a little scary, that like 30-second track is playing, and it's just like, okay, you can tell that there is, a little bit of suspense build that they're trying to run on, that she's now a badass and no one should fuck with her because she's wearing her lipstick and her hair in a ponytail and the red leather coat. And then the other thing, I think that there's a lot of stuff that pulls off. I referenced this as in the last couple of movies and some notes that we've watched. Again, a little bit more practical effects. Yes, there's CGI mix in, but there's no CGI blood like Three from Hell. So it's automatically a win. And I think it was pretty well laid out. And the only bad CGI I think we got is when she's being attacked and there's like an Aztecan pyramid underneath them, and the clouds go over the moon.
I didn't think that was that bad.
It was a little weird for me, but other than that, I think production was really well done on this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it has, like I said earlier, the same feel as those Happy Death Day movies, and I haven't been able to pinpoint what that is.
Yeah, they're kind of like their own weird subgenre.
Right, because that took Groundhog Day and said, what if we did a slasher with that? And then this is the same thing with Freaky Friday. So who knows what the fuck they'll do next?
So I think rumor is that like the Happy Death Day series is kind of going like, because at the end of the second one, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they were kind of hinting at more of a multiverse thing that was happening. But do you think that they're gonna, Christopher Landon's gonna kind of like take movies like this genre and make them slashers, kind of like how Brightburn was trying to make this
Brightburn,
whatever. It was a bad movie. End of story.
And you say I'm dyslexic.
Yeah, right. But how they were trying to take like, oh, let's make the evil superhero, universe. Do you think that's like kind of a direction he's going?
I would assume, yeah. I'm sure he is. I'm probably a good fan of cinema, I guess you could say, and probably just looks at these older movies and goes, I could do something, I could do some neat kills or a neat storyline with that, and I guess gets the backing of Blumhouse and Universal, and I guess they just tell him to go fucking nuts, and we get to see old actors get sawed in half, and Vince Vaughn running around saying crazy nonsense, and I'm all for it.
Well, one thing that I was, as we wrap up to our final thoughts here, one thing I was thinking last night as we were talking about the Happy Death Day universe, multiverse, and then this one, is what if they did like, Freaky Friday's an older one. The original one came out, in the 60s or so? So what if they do movies like from each, what was Groundhog's Day? When did that come out? 80s?
80s, yeah.
Yeah, so, can you imagine if they do like a Breakfast Club-ish, movie like this where they get stuck in a school and then there's a killer going on and it's one of the students? Or if they do more of like a weird science thing where these nerds create a killing machine, stuff like that. So I feel like he could probably spin pretty well on kind of breaking down the older movie styles like this and making them into the modern twist. And I'm not against it. I just it's not original, but it is original, It's that weird middle part. I can't put my finger on it.
I know what you mean, and I agree. There's definitely a lot of hit and miss in these movies, and this is not a perfect movie by any means. This is definitely a movie that I feel like benefits from watching with a group or in the movie theater, if you remember what those are.
Yeah.
This is definitely a group movie versus like sitting down and getting some analytical prowess or anything like that.
Any final thoughts as far as the movie rundown is before we give our ratings here?
I thought it was fun.
That's a great thought.
I loved watching it.
Yeah?
I would totally watch it again.
I wrote like a paragraph on my final thought. I don't know if you guys want me to read this or not.
Well, then give it to us, son.
I just put like, overall, this was a good movie. This was a fun watch, and like you had said, I did put this in there that you benefit from watching it with a bunch of friends because it's not scary, but it's not not scary, and it's not funny, but it's not funny. So it's something that everyone can kind of get on with. There's brutal kills and a lot of cool gore. One of the ones that we didn't end up talking about, but I'll mention, is the chainsaw ball chop. And that's when, she takes a chainsaw to some teenager's testicles, which is great at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Really pulls...
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, really pulls that together. I've done beating the dead horse, but I've mentioned it. Kind of like Hot Chicks Freaky Friday reference. We know that. And the last thing that I really enjoyed about this, the ending was a little iffy. It was a little rough for me, but the thing that I enjoyed was it didn't hint at a sequel, and it didn't hint at like an extra universe that is going on with this dagger like Happy Death Day did.
We almost got an ambulance, end of movie ambulance fake out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Again.
Yep.
Again, they refrained.
Yep.
They even said that he died, and then I guess he just didn't.
And then yeah, right. And then one other thing as far as the reference go is that we get a Shining reference where she's hiding in the bathroom and then a knife comes through the door at the end of the movie, and it kind of gives, I mean, it is set up just like the Shining when the axe
No, that
comes
was
through.
when the gay guy was in the room and she stabbed
Yeah, that was
through the door.
in his house. With the
I
mom.
thought that was the end. I thought it was with the mom at the end.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless, we got a Shining reference, which is great.
It also reminded me of A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, with Freddy's glove coming through the door, because that's my favorite film of all time.
Yes, I did hear that was your favorite.
But in addition to all that, like I said, a lot of Scream homages and I guess that sort of deal. I got hints of Slumber Party Massacre, if you've ever seen that 80s slasher.
No, I haven't seen that. I have not.
There's 3 of them. They're all, quality motion pictures.
I'm sure they are. If there's 3 of them, they must be great. Do you want to give us a rundown on how we rate our movies around here?
Are you talking to me?
No, I'm talking to the guy behind you.
All right. Bill, come explain the ratings. Okay, he's almost here. Okay, he's here. That joke didn't land. That joke didn't land as well as I was hoping, but it's fine. We got a thumbs up, thumbs down, pick it or flick it. It's the name of the show. I'm sure if you are smarter than a tadpole, you could figure it out. And we also give you it out of 10 just for convenience. So Vox, tell me about Freaky.
Definitely gonna lay a pick on this one. I definitely think it'll be worth watching a second time, and it was fun. It was fun overall. Absolutely, Tasha.
I'd definitely pick it.
You're picking it?
Mm-hmm.
Luke?
Yeah, definite pick.
Beautiful. On a scale of 1 to a big old 10, where you throwing it? Mr.
6.
Oh, wow, really?
Dang.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lower than I expected, to be honest.
Well, I gave Happy Death Day 1 a 5 and Part 2 a 6, and I liked this just as much as that. So
Okay.
I think a 6 is fair. It could, I don't know. It's got quite a bit that's like, you can tell they're just kind of ripping it off from other spots, which is fine. It's got some fun kills and whatever, but I think it could always benefit from, I don't know, doing more, I guess, trying more risk.
Okay, all right. Tasha?
I'd give it an 8.
An 8?
Yeah, I
Okay.
really like Vince Vaughn. I've always liked him. I always thought he was funny. And then Kathryn Newton.
Killing it.
Yeah, I love
Yeah, the
everything
two
she's in.
the two leads definitely carry this and elevate it more than it definitely would have been otherwise.
So I actually had a hard time rating it. I usually don't do the 0.5 system. That's always been giving me a rough, thing when Tosh does it. But if I had to throw it on a solid number, I would as well give it an 8. I think it was really fun to sit down and watch something. Not like, again, if anyone knows what the title or what to call this subgenre of horror comedy twists, like, please let us know, because I don't know where to fucking put my finger on it.
Comedy.
But I initially said 7.5, but if we're not doing any points, I'll give it an 8. That's where I'm at. End of story.
That's fair.
It's pretty fair. And I really liked I really like Christopher Landon's style, so.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun time. I wouldn't, not watch it again, but it wasn't, mind blowing or anything super unique or different. In terms of, I don't know. I guess a lot of it looks kind of flat.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I feel you. So before we peace out of here, make sure you comment, subscribe, like. Luke and I are chugging, and Tasha's part of this, but she comes and goes. But Luke and I are chugging towards a goal in order to throw our faces onto the YouTube channel. And whether that's masked or not, I don't know for Luke. But for me, I'll put my face up there. I don't care. But we have a goal to just get there, and 500 subscribers is where we want to land before we start putting a little bit more effort and video onto our channel, so you can look at something instead of just listening. So if you are a fan of what you're hearing and you made it all the way through, obviously we save our plugs usually to the end. So if you don't make it this far, well, then you don't need to subscribe, because we don't want you here. If you're not listening to the whole episode, what's the point?
Go on, get
out of here. But yeah, please subscribe, share around if you think that what we are saying is worthy of listening or hearing. I would appreciate it. I don't know how you two would feel, but I'd appreciate it. So if not for anyone else, do it for me. But until next time, Luke, you got anything good to say?
This should have been called Freaky Friday the 13th.
Get out of here. Tasha?
And I'll die on that fucking mountain.
What do Italians eat on Friday the 13th?
I don't know.
Pasta?
Fettuccine Alfredo.
Ooh. I need to get a...
And with that, I'm going to go stab myself with a ceremonial dagger.
Bye.